You're listening to Gratitude Space Radio. Discover more at gratitudespace.com.
You know, every once in a while, you hear a story, and it just sticks with you. It can completely change how you see things, how you react to, well, everything. This is one of those stories. Seriously, think about it for a second. When was the last time a story really, truly altered your perspective? We're surrounded by them, but very few have that kind of power. The one I'm about to share definitely does, if you let it. All right, let's set the scene. Picture this. It's the summer of 1959. We're at a resort way up in the Sierra Nevada mountains in Northern California. And working there for the summer is this 22-year-old college kid, Robert Fulghum. He's full of opinions and, let's just say, not seeing eye to eye with his Swiss boss. Now, for the employees, the meals situation was repetitive. I mean, can you imagine the sheer monotony? For an entire week, every single day, the meal was exactly the same. 2 wieners, a scoop of sauerkraut, and some stale rolls. And to add insult to injury, they were being charged for it. The cost was getting docked right from their paychecks. As you can guess, Fulghum was not happy. So fast forward to Friday night. After 5 straight days of this exact meal, Fulghum wanders into the kitchen and spots a note for the chef. And the plan for the weekend? You guessed it, 2 more days of wieners and sauerkraut. And that's it. That was the tipping point. He just snapped. For the next 20 minutes, he just lets loose. We're talking an epic, top-of-his-lungs tirade aimed at the only other person there to hear it, the quiet night auditor. He's slamming a fly swatter on the desk, he's kicking chairs around, he's even threatening to wake up the owner and shove a plate of the stuff in his face. He's yelling about how this is un-American, that you can't force people to eat wieners and sauerkraut for a solid week and then make them pay for the privilege. He's screaming that the whole hotel stinks of it, and he's had it. He's screaming that back in Montana, where he's from, they wouldn't even feed this slop to pigs. It was a total meltdown, a one-man war party just fueled by profanity and pure, unfiltered rage. And the whole time this is happening, the night auditor, this guy named Sigmund Wollman, he just sits there. He's on his stool just watching this whole chaotic scene play out with these incredibly sorrowful eyes. Now, to really get what happens next, you have to understand who Sigmund Wollman was. This wasn't just some random guy. He was a German Jew. He was a survivor of Auschwitz, where he'd been a prisoner for 3 years. He loved the night job because it was quiet and peaceful. And for him, getting to eat all the wieners and sauerkraut he wanted, well, that was a feast. It was something he literally dreamed about in the camp. And here's this young kid screaming his head off, shattering that dream. So after Fulghum finally runs out of gas, just completely spent, Wollman finally speaks. And with this one simple sentence, he just cuts right through all that anger, all that noise. He doesn't yell back. He just states this quiet, devastating truth. And right here, this is the pivot point. This is where Wollman is about to give this furious 22-year-old a lesson in perspective that would literally reshape his entire reality. So what's the difference? Wollman lays it out plain and simple. He says, you want to know what a real problem is? If you break your neck, if you have nothing to eat, if your house is on fire, then you got a problem. He pauses, and then he says, everything else is inconvenience. Fulghum later said that in that one moment, Wollman basically kicked his butt and opened a window in his mind at the exact same time. And for the next 30 years, whenever he felt himself getting angry or stressed, he would apply what he called the Wollman Test of reality. He'd just stop and ask himself, is this a real problem or is this just an inconvenience? Wollman's last bit of wisdom was so simple but so profound. Life isn't supposed to be smooth. It's full of little frustrations, big annoyances. It's just lumpy. And the secret isn't getting rid of the lumps. It's learning how to deal with them. So how do we actually use this, right? How do we tell the difference between all the different kinds of lumps life throws at us? Well, turns out Wollman had a great analogy for that too. And this analogy is just brilliant. Think about it. A lump in your oatmeal, that's an inconvenience. You just scoop it out, no big deal. A lump in your throat, well, that could be sadness or fear. That's more serious. You got to pay attention to that. But a lump in the breast, see, that's a potential problem, a real problem. They are absolutely not the same thing. And that right there, that's the whole lesson. Learning to tell the difference between those things, that is one of the most important skills we can ever develop. It governs how we react, how stressed we get, and our ability to focus on what actually truly matters. Okay, so let's bring this to today. Think about our world right now. It can feel totally overwhelming, but even with these huge, complex issues, the Wollman test still works. You can ask yourself, okay, how is this affecting me personally, right this second? Is this a true, immediate problem for my survival, or is it an inconvenience that I can navigate with a much clearer head? By the way, this incredible story comes from the bestseller All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, written by the very same man who had that meltdown all those years ago, Robert Fulghum. So, I'll just leave you with this thought. The next time you feel that anger rising up, whether it's over wieners and sauerkraut, a traffic jam, or some frustrating email, maybe you'll hear Sigmund Woolman's quiet voice in the back of your head. And maybe you'll ask yourself, is this a problem or is it just an inconvenience? You know, learning the difference, it might just change everything.
This is Gratitude Space Radio. Thanks for being here.
Share the love, listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
And explore more at gratitudespace.com.